Let me go to Ron Vitiello, former ICE acting director. Ron, you heard what the president said, putting the weight of the presidency behind these lies, these false accusations. He is indicting and convicting these Border Patrol agents on horseback for something they clearly did not do before any, quote, investigation is even concluded.
I agree. He should have stopped at the point where he said he took responsibility for what happened, because that chaos in Del Rio is a result of the chaotic reversal of policies that prevented the surge on the border in the first place. Horse Patrol agents in the Border Patrol are among the most trained agents in the whole cadre of the Border Patrol. To be able to do what they do on horseback all over the border in all kinds of terrain. And I saw the video. The photographer, the people who took the video, said that no one was struck by those officers, and certainly nobody was run over. And to suggest that people are going to get consequences for things that they did while an investigation is still going on is highly suspect to me. He's a lawyer. He understands what due process is. He knows what innocent until proven guilty is. Those employees need his support, not his condemnation.
These men are patriots. They're serving their country. They're protecting the United States, holding up the law. They're completely overwhelmed. They are husbands and fathers and sons and brothers. What do you say about these men, these agents, and their families? How do they even feel listening to this?
God bless them all. I'm sure they're quite demoralized, because they find themselves since January in a situation that was completely preventable. The border got overwhelmed when we reversed the policy of the Remain in Mexico program, when we reversed the asylum accords with the Northern Triangle. In May, we announced we weren't going to deport people back to Haiti. And so that started a rush of people who were already in the hemisphere to come to the southwest border. They elected to come to Del Rio all at the same time. And we learned earlier today that there were 30 since the 9th of this month. There have been 30,000 encounters just in Del Rio alone. The whole town of Del Rio is only 35,000 people. Just imagine that scene. Imagine how put upon these agents are. They have to deal with this crush of humanity each and every day, and they leave to go back home to their families, and the next day they come in and there's another 1,000 or so people that they have to deal with. And so they were put in an impossible situation. They were doing the best that they can, and now they're being vilified by the White House, and not just people in the White House, not just the spokesperson who vilified them, but the president himself and the vice president, before they know anything about what they're investigating. Where are the victims? Where are the witnesses? Where is the example of the training curriculum that those agents went through for the use of those tactics that we saw? Yeah, most of America, there's 330 million people in this country. Most of them have never seen a Border Patrol agent on horseback. But those agents and agents like them have been doing that for 100 years.
Well, our own William Lajeunesse on the Fox News channel has done incredible reporting on this, even speaking to a former chief, saying that twirling the reins is a proper technique to keep people away from grabbing the horse's harness and from getting knocked down and trampled. We've done, William and other people on our networks have done incredible reporting on this. I want to get your reaction to this. So just to be clear, this started with Jen Psaki first, and then President Biden, and today Kamala Harris, the vice president, on The View. Ron, listen to this.
I was outraged by it. It was horrible and deeply troubling. There's been now an investigation that is being conducted, which I fully support, and there needs to be consequence and accountability.
And then you had Mayorkas later today, again, trying to backpedal and get in line with what Biden and Harris are saying, and essentially saying this whip hoax is a systemic racism. So it seems like they've decided, all of them in the White House, to tell this lie enough so they hope it becomes the truth, to cover up their utter failure at our border and putting children and women and legal residents of this country in harm's way, of allowing people to profit from human misery and suffering.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, if there was misconduct in this case, and I have not seen it, I spent the majority of my adult life with border issues. I rode with the Horse Patrol when I was a Border Patrol agent. I wasn't a Horse Patrol agent, but as an executive, I went out and met with them. These are the most highly trained agents, some of the most highly trained agents in the entire workforce. And to suggest that there's going to be consequences for what they did when no one knows what they did, whether it's misconduct or not, I didn't see it if it is. If that's what the investigation bears out, fine. But that's not what you see in those images. The person who took the film himself said no one was struck. Where are the witnesses? Where is the video of people being struck? Where's the video of people being run over? How could they pay for something that no one knows what happened?
Ron, do the border agents have any ability to take action on this? I just think about people walking off the job. This is a president of the United States all the way down, the vice president of the United States, telling lies and putting them in a situation where, and Mayorkas was questioned about this afternoon, how do you have a fair investigation when you have the president standing up there and jumping the gun, indicting and convicting these individuals before any investigation is completed? How is that fair? So do these border agents, or what does this do to the morale of all people trying to protect our border?
This whole situation must be I know it's very demoralizing for the agents and the families that serve alongside them. This chaos was created by the lack of preparation for the reversal of the policy that was initiated in January. And, the president went to law school. He knows that due process is fundamental. This workforce has the same rights as every other citizen in the country. Let's find out what happened, and then let's deal with it. Let's not talk about how they're going to pay for something before the investigation is complete. And putting a false timeline in the investigation is also a mistake. What are the people who are doing the investigation to think when the White House has already proclaimed that consequences must be enacted? It makes no sense. It goes against the fundamentals in the Constitution as it relates to due process. And to your point, this is a bargaining unit workforce. And so they do have protections under the civil service rules and regulations, and they have a fairly aggressive union that will help the particular agents through this process. And I wish them Godspeed.
And I'll just point out, Ron, you listen to the language that these individuals in the White House are using. Like President Biden, you notice how he used the word strapped, people being strapped, which is a lie, no evidence of that. But he didn't use the word whip because, again, you tweak the lie to keep the lie going. That's what they're doing. And they're trying to con the American people into, and by the way, we are sitting here talking about this because we find a president and vice president lying to the American people and putting Border Patrol agents in harm's way, if you will, disgusting. But it also covers up the utter disaster that is the border that we're not talking about at this point.
That's right. That's right. There's a lot of talk in early days of this crisis that they refused to call a crisis about the root cause. Well, I know what the root cause is. The last surge was ended by the migrant protection protocols in the Remain in Mexico program. Once they removed those protocols and they let all of the people that were in that program into the United States, they sent a signal to the world. This is a highly responsive marketplace. Those people were already in the hemisphere, and they got a signal that says if you came to the United States, you're likely to be able to evade the Border Patrol because they're distracted by all the traffic that has occurred since January 20th. And if you don't get away, you probably will get released after a brief stay with the Border Patrol. Remember, before this crisis started, we weren't sending flights to Haiti. And now we are. And so those people got an incentive to come to Del Rio. Now, unfortunately, they picked the wrong place at the wrong time to all come at once on behalf of the operation. That's nobody's fault but what happens in Mexico. But the root cause of that problem is the reversal of these policies.
Ron Vitiello, thank you so much for being here, always. And